Alright, well I spent all day yesterday completely trashing Netflix for the atrocity that was the brand new movie Atlas, so today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm going to praise Netflix for their brand new documentary called Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. And I'm also just gonna praise Netflix in general, because the one thing I will say about Netflix as a company, whether you hate what they've done to movie theaters, what you hate what they've done to the film industry, the one thing that they have done well is that they have kept the industry of documentaries alive. They are consistently and constantly putting out high-quality, well-produced, great documentaries about interesting subjects. And this one is no different, although I do not think this is one of the better Netflix documentaries. It is one that I found fascinating enough that I want to hop on here and talk about it, because it studies and talks about an interesting thing that is going on within the TikTok community, the dancing TikTok community, and different things going on there that I think kind of have a larger overall impact on the rest of social media and this idea of influencers and whatnot. So Dancing for the Devil talks about these two sisters, the Wilkins sisters, these two sisters who are TikTok dancers who got famous during COVID or a little bit before COVID on TikTok by dancing. And I don't mean dancing like the Charli D'Amelio or like the, Addison Rae, that kind of goofy TikTok shit. I mean, these people are like professional dancers that make goofy, brain rot dancing content on TikTok that people enjoy for some reason. And it tells the real life story about how one of those sisters kind of got caught up within this weird TikTok cult thing, this weird management group called 7M that's ran by this one prick. His name is Robert Shin, and he's this guy that not only is a manager for these TikTok stars, but he is also the head of a church, of this weird Christian church that mixes management of celebrities with religion. And because of that, he's sort of created this weird cult, and he's kind of a dick. And the documentary covers this man's history, a lot of stuff he's done before he's gotten into the TikTok scene, a lot of the allegedly terrible things that he may or may not have done, a lot of the allegations that are going on, and their quest to kind of go after him with the law. And it also covers the story of these sisters and this girl and how she has kind of cut off her family from her life and become completely brainwashed by this cult or by this weird TikTok group that she's in. And she's just kind of not been like the daughter and the sister that she was. She's been kind of ruined by TikTok and stuff. And I will say, this documentary is very well put together. It does a really good job of being this weird 2.5-hour study of both TikTok and of this situation that I had never heard of, because I do not give a shit about dance TikTok. But it's also an interesting insight on the business of TikTok and how I think people can get swept up by money and by the promise of money, and how that kind of correlates with religion in weird ways. It kind of fascinated me, this whole thing. But it also kind of concerned me, because this is a weird documentary for a multitude of reasons, one of which is we only get one side of this overall story. We never hear from the guy that's running this group, and we never hear from the girl, Miranda, who is kind of like the target of this documentary as well. We never hear that side of the story. So what you get is really 3 episodes here of allegations, of claims, some of which are backed by evidence, some of which not really, and there's just a lot of lofty things said here, but I came out of it feeling like I'm missing a very large piece of context that maybe you could only get if you heard the other people telling their side of the story. I feel like this documentary does not work as a strong standalone story on its own, informative story, until you get Miranda, the girl in this documentary, to come on and talk her side, say why she's cut off her family and her reasons behind it. And because you don't get that, this kind of feels incomplete in a way. So although the production of the whole documentary is really well done, it hooks you for its entire run, and it is interesting, there are some just key mistakes and things in this that made it feel like unfulfilling. I think that's one of them. I also think the documentary puts a really strong influence on this idea that they're going to try to go after this dude criminally. They're trying to get criminal courts to go after him. They're trying to get the police to go after him. They're trying to build a case around him. But this documentary most definitely does way, way more to hurt and kind of destroy the possibility of ever prosecuting this guy for any of the stuff he's done than it does to help it. Because it literally kind of shows the documentary crew setting up scenes with different women that are talking to other women, and they're sort of being coerced or strongly influenced to go and testify their side of this terrible story that's happened to them, which really kind of, I feel like if I was a defense attorney, this documentary would be the biggest gift on God's green earth to get my client off. on whatever he's being accused, because there's really nothing evidence-wise that's really being presented here. And listen, I'm not trying to defend this guy. He's clearly comes off as a douchebag and a dickwad, and he's probably not a very good human being. But I'm just saying, I think this documentary did more to hurt the chances of this guy ever facing any kind of actual justice than anything else. Will it hurt his actual career of being a manager? Probably. You know, you fools out there with your cancel culture are pretty evil with that shit. And I say evil not because you're gonna go after this guy, but because you accidentally, you hit some strays, you hit some people that probably shouldn't be getting canceled all the time. It always happens in this world. That weird headline culture, but at the same time, I just don't think this guy's ever gonna get put in criminal court because of some of the stuff in this documentary. Like, there's this weird scene where you have these two sisters who are involved in the church, and they're kind of talking to each other, and it felt like a staged, scripted scene where one of the sisters kind of breaks down. It's a really emotional and powerful moment, but something about it felt very unauthentic, and I don't know, I kind of disconnected from the show for a second. And stuff like that just made this documentary at times just feel like, yet again, like it's missing something. Like, it was missing a large piece of context for the story. For this to be fully interesting and intrigue me, need to hear the side of the story of why these people are getting involved in this weird cult that's not really a cult in a way. I mean, essentially what it is it's a machinima.
You machinima.
If you remember Machinima from the early days, it's this management group who takes these people, it makes them very, very famous, it pretty much takes control of all their social media accounts and all their money, and makes them kind of like slaves to their business, slaves to their contracts. So Machinima, but it's nowhere near the levels of like evil cult, you know, documentary drama as stuff like if you were to go watch like a Jim Jones documentary. But I still think this study of like how people can get swept up in something like this in a social media world and can get so addicted to the fame that they'd be willing to cut off their family. They'd be willing to do all these different things and just kind of become a robot to the money, to the content. It's a very interesting study, especially with TikTok and this modern form of brainwashed, you know, brain rot content that we have. I would love to see that side of the story. We don't get that. We just kind of get the families questioning, how the fuck did this happen? How do we get her back? What's going on? There's like a moment in one of the episodes where they allude to the fact that she really cut off her family because they didn't like her boyfriend who was black and they were racist, and then they never mention that again. And it's like, I'm not saying that that's true. It probably isn't. Maybe it is. All I know is it would be nice to get that side of the story. It would have been a complete documentary, and I understand the documentary filmmakers here can't force the other side to come and give their story in this whole thing, but at the same time, without it, this particular story, without, like, concrete, terrible evidence that's just being easily displayed on the screen, I felt incomplete about this, and I kind of left this documentary with a lot more questions than I have answers. And maybe that's the point. Maybe this documentary, they made it, and now they want us all to go out there and ask questions about this, but I'm not that interested, but I still have questions. I have questions, but I'm not interested enough to go get the answers. So it's just kind of a dud in a way. But at the same time, I can understand that a lot of people are going to really enjoy this documentary. They're going to research all these people. They're going to say, fuck you, Robert Shin, you stupid fucking pedophile, whatever. You know, all the keywords they'll throw at him to cancel him. I'm sure all that's going to happen, and I'm sure maybe one of these girls, since they're social media stars, they'll come back out. They'll release a big video. What's the real truth? Apology video. And then you'll get one, like, back together again, and it's going to be like a whole thing because everybody involved in this documentary on camera, they're all just trying to be big on social media. Let's just be real here. It's all about those numbers, the likes, the comments, the favorite. That's all people give a shit about. That's all I care about. So please subscribe, turn on notifications. Because goddamn, I don't want to end up in a TikTok cult, guys. We gotta have the success here, so I don't gotta hire this weird, creepy sexual assaulter to represent me on YouTube talking about movies. But yeah, mixed feelings of this documentary. I'm not gonna score it. I feel like scoring documentaries is stupid. Production value, I guess I'll just say it's like a 4. But I feel dumb scoring a documentary, but it's well produced, it's entertaining, it will keep your attention, so go check it out. And good job, Netflix, keep putting these out. Keep putting out documentaries, because I always enjoy watching them. They're easy to sit through, and you guys do a very good job with them. Just stop releasing terrible movies, like Atlas. Go watch my review for that. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll see you guys in the next one.